everyone. Welcome to the latest of the Overboard Network, a Below Deck podcast. We're back for season 3, episode 4 of Sailing Yacht, titled, Sean, you're not going to believe this, Oopsie Daisy.
Whose job is it to name these episodes? Man,
It's not ours because we would do better. So in this week's episode, Chuck continues to be an absolute miserable person. Erica seems to be okay with it. Cindy is, again, in her own world. We see Marcos go down, and Sean, we saw it in the trailer and we see it here. Gary and Daisy finally kiss.
yeah.
So we'll get into it. But in tonight's pod, we're going to give out some awards, go over our question of the week, then finish out with some life advice. This time around getting out of something you don't really want to do, which, Sean, I deal with on a daily struggle. So, as always, you can email us at belowdeckpod@gmail.com to submit life advice, questions you have. Sean, you're already here. I don't have to invite you in this time. Sean, here's a question. Is Chuck the most intolerable guest in Below Deck history?
I think yes, in that he dominated the entire thing. Well, him and Cindy did, and Erica too. Okay, regardless, because I feel like there has been probably worse overall people. Yeah. But this guy is just the most annoying. He complained the entire time. I think this is one of the first times when another guest, you have a primary and one of the other guests wants to fight him. And I was kind of ruined for it. I don't condone violence, but
if there was somebody to get popped in that episode,
it was. So you're just calling him Chuck. Does he like Chuck, or I feel like they were calling him Charles?
I mean, either way, I'm gonna offend every Chuck by calling him Chuck, but this guy's not a Charles, right?
Right. Charles feels too classy. Yeah.
Right.
But he was such a tough hang. And his behavior was the worst. He's complaining the entire time. And then the tip really caps it. I mean,
dude, $6,500.
That's season 1, 2013 Below Deck tip.
How many people are on board there? 10? It's usually split 10 ways. So $650. That's half. Yeah. Right. Weren't they getting 15 or something?
Oh yeah. That on the most recent season of Legacy, I feel like they're averaging $25,000.
Yeah, but they charge more for that boat.
Yeah, right.
So they get, but they still should have been getting $10,000 is absolute minimum. I think we're talking more 15.
Yeah. No, this is awful. I feel really bad for Marcos that he had to go through that charter. Guy splits his head open and has no money to show for it. John,
Marcos just got beat up this entire episode. At the beginning, he just gets insulted, whatever. Chuck saying, "Oh, this is ballpark food, this, that." And he doesn't phase him. And then he gets his skull cracked open. Again, doesn't phase him. I was trying to think about some chefs in Below Deck history that wouldn't have done the same thing. How tight of a ball would Chef Matt have been balled up into should any of this happen to him?
Chef Matt would have left.
Yeah.
He left with a fake knee injury. There's no way. After they compared it to McDonald's, was that the restaurant? No, it was Chili's. Chili's. And just everything like that. Matt would have left. You would have never seen Matt again.
Yeah. Who also is a tough hang.
He's also a tough hang. But no. And so I know this is the end of last week's episode. It all starts because of tomatoes, right? In the omelet.
I mean, maybe, or it was just because Chuck was on board to begin with. But yeah, so essentially Daisy goes to him and says, "Hey, we can bring you up an omelet, this or that, and the other thing." And also, I think Chuck's the guy that just says he eats everything. And so Daisy just randomly lists off 3 items. And then it comes up with like, and she basically went down to Marcos and she's just like, just make like a regular omelet, right? Just the
Yeah.
usual stuff. And so Marcos was like, fine. And then all of a sudden, because there's tomatoes in it, it's like the worst thing in the world. Like, it's one of those things, like when a kid throws a tantrum, you're kind of like, I mean, I'm not a parent, so like, I don't really care. I can leave that situation. Like when an adult throws a tantrum, you're like, hold on, let me see what's going on here. It's almost like you can't look away, man. It's like an eclipse.
Yeah, and he literally goes to bed afterward. I know it's very shortly. He just crawls into bed.
Yeah.
He's a dramatic guy. And this is after that moment, you kind of see Janelle, who we didn't see at all last episode.
Right.
One of Erica's hairdresser specifically.
Yep.
Just kind of like says out loud, like, yeah, he doesn't like anything. And so then we have the beach picnic.
Yeah, which, Sean, I gotta say, that beach picnic looked like it was set up perfectly.
Kudos to Tom, who,
yeah, it looks really good.
And not a huge episode for Tom, but actually not a huge episode either. He
right.
We'll get to that later too. But yeah, no, attaboy for Tom. He's those tents by yourself, or no, Kelsey was with him, right?
Yeah.
I can never tell when Kelsey's on screen.
Who?
Poor Kelsey. She's seems like a nice girl, and like she's just a lot of big personalities on this boat.
That's exactly what it is, man. There's like, she's not working with a regular season. She's working with like, a couple all-stars here. And like, listen, any batter for like the Pirates. Well, no, don't they have a really good player? But like, pick a bad team. Like, if you're batting cleanup for a bad team and then you get put in like an all-star team, like you're bottom of the order.
Yeah.
She's actually, it seems like she's good at her job. She's just not in the show.
Yeah. When Tom is your fifth guy, that's saying something.
Yeah.
That's really good. Look at that. Hope everyone enjoyed those baseball references. Yeah. Which is back too. Like it ended. No, John. So yeah, kudos to Tom. And now when the guests are getting ready to go over to the beach picnic, Cindy, Erica's mother, sits on the couch.
Yep.
Got a white couch worth $50,000. She gets up, there's a big stain. We can infer that it was Cindy who ruined the couch, right?
Well, yeah, they have footage of it, but also she looks like the most bronzed person in the world. Like, it's not a secret. And then like she has the audacity at the end when Glenn's talking to her, and he's like, well, somebody sat on the couch. He pulls her aside for a reason, right? He's like, yeah, you sat on the freaking couch. And she's like, oh no, first off, I didn't sit on the couch. And then without saying anything, she walks over to everyone and she goes, oh, somebody sat on the couch with bronzer, so we have to split this all. Like, that's just the most like, I mean, I'm sorry, that's just scummy move, man. That just shows exactly what this person's about.
I like Janelle was like, well, no, because I didn't do it. And Cindy's like, neither do I. I think Janelle should have said like, yeah, by someone you mean you. Like,
that would have been great.
She should have been more direct. Like, yeah, I knew who the someone was. It was you. But yeah, so once they eventually get to the beach picnic, John. So yeah, they eventually get there. They say the food looks good, but Chuck points out, I don't know that it's good yet. I haven't eaten it yet.
God, this guy sucks so bad. He just sucks, man.
Yeah, and then when they find out the food is good, Chuck's like begrudgingly, it's like, oh, it's pretty good, and Cindy just gets quiet. It's like she's pissed off that the food was okay.
Yeah, I just have a question about Tom, or not Tom. Chuck, does he think he's on audition for like the next great bake caker or something? Is he on some like cooking show? And isn't that like a thing on the cooking show? Like you go on there and just like, oh, this stinks. I don't really watch any cooking shows, but like I know there's always a guy that's really hard to please, right? And just Tom's just like, I could do that. I could fill that role.
So the Great British Bake Off, Paul
All right,
Hollywood. I think Paul Hollywood's hard to please.
talk to me. All right.
Yeah, he's not like a Simon Cowell though.
Okay.
I think he maybe Chuck's trying to be that guy. Like what TV producers like that guy should
Need
be a
him.
judge?
You know what? He's just he's gonna be a blast to work with. Easygoing, level-headed.
Not the worst idea, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I think Ashley's on the wrong show. I think she's trying to be on. We'll get to her, but I think she's trying to get on the cast of what is it? What do you watch on Summer House? Winter House?
I think she's more of a Love Island girl, which
Love, yeah, maybe.
British show. Yeah, no, Ashley's amazing TV.
Yeah.
Man.
So so obviously they get back to the boat. They come up with that. Then Glenn wants to have like a sit down with them, right? So has Daisy, Marcos, basically the charter guests, and I think Cindy and her daughter come up with like the worst chartered dinner I've ever heard of. Like we get spaghetti and mashed potatoes. They're just literally naming things. There's no theme. Like if they noticed like the night before, like Marcos has a theme. They don't just like throw shit up against the wall and like, oh wow, this worked out. Like there's a theme. Like he's trying to like, I don't know, release your taste buds or something. And they were literally just like naming stuff. And Marcos was absolutely appalled by what he had to bake.
It was very like Cheesecake Factory menu, right? Because it was a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But like something like cream of spinach, it feels very like 70s. I mean, not in a bad way. I mean, I guess it was a decade party, whatever that means. The menu, but what decade was the menu from?
What do you mean it was a decade party?
That was why Cindy was dressed like Marilyn Monroe. No, I think her and someone else dressed like a flapper, and then that was really it. And the menu had nothing to do with it, because I feel like you could get all that food in any decade.
I think that's like the least. I think that's the least lackluster. That was too many L's.
Or most lackluster.
Most lackluster theme party I've ever seen in Below Deck. Wait, first of all, they didn't even put anything out. Like let's talk about like, I know we love Daisy, but like her and her crew didn't put anything out, did they?
No. That's Daisy's my favorite, but like imagine Daisy and her Sandy. That might be tough.
It wouldn't work, man.
No. Daisy's an alpha. She's a female alpha, so she can't have a Sandy there trying to get in her way.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I do not understand what a decade party means. At least pick one decade.
Pick a decade, because then you're just like people are just showing up with whatever they want, right?
On Vanderpump Rules one time, someone had a decade party too. Of all of the decades. It's not.
That doesn't make sense.
It's not good. It was Sheena. She's not good. Yeah, but decade parties are tough.
So they get through dinner. I don't really remember anything
Well,
that happened at this dinner.
Gary was there.
Oh, that's right. So, and is this the first time? I've never seen anyone but the captain get invited to a dinner.
This is absolutely the first time. Captain Lee would never allow it. Maybe no. If it was Eddie who would allow it.
Yeah.
My mistake. Any other bosun? No way.
Because the theory is, hey, they got to work. They can't just sit and have 2-hour dinner. But also, I think maybe Captain Lee may not have want to put Eddie through that. I mean, this is kind of a cringeworthy cast of, guests, right?
Yeah,
I don't want to go to that dinner. I would have paid to not go to that dinner.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you got to eat the food hot, right? No, I mean, I guess you get a warm when you get the crew mess.
Yeah.
You got to sit down. I don't know. I'm sure
it sucks though that Gary finally gets to go to a dinner. He went to the worst dinner I could possibly imagine.
Yeah, but John, literally after the dinner, every girl on the boat wants to hook up with him. It just, the fact that he's invited makes him look way cooler.
Got it.
Yeah, it's good for clouts. Even
Got it.
though
All
he
right.
probably would have had way more fun eating with Colin.
That's true.